So it's been well over a year since I accidentally DNF'd Rhythm of War. Yeah, I had every intention of finishing it last year, but I set it down one day and I didn't pick it back up. And I kept telling myself next month, next month, next month. And here we are in November, and Wind and Truth comes out next month, and I have not finished Rhythm of War. So I restarted it. We have it on Kindle right now. I also have the audiobook going, and I have no idea what's happening. I have no clue what's happening. I thought I remembered the 100 or so pages that I read last year. I remember virtually none of it. Maybe like 2 scenes so far. And I am only 6% in. And none of it is familiar. So I don't know if I'm just thinking of Oathbringer and some scenes that happened in that. But I like very distinctly remember a certain scene with Shallan, and I very distinctly remember something with Rock. So maybe I read way more than I thought I did, but this is where I thought I stopped last year. Apparently I didn't, but I don't know what's happening. I realize how much about this series didn't fully stick, especially the types of radiance that there are, and I think this might be why I accidentally DNF'd it last year, because there's something that's disconnected between book 3 and book 4 in my opinion. It just feels like this 1 year time jump is significantly more than 1 year, and almost like it's starting a whole new fantasy book again, where you're kind of dropped into the middle of all of this stuff, and it's kind of backtracking on some of the explanations that you should know, but I feel like I never learned any of this stuff. So I don't know if I just did a terrible job paying attention the first go, but I'm not understanding what's happening right now. So I'm hoping that I can hit a point where maybe I can watch a couple of videos and try and get something explained, but overall I'm just gonna be reading for the vibes and hoping that the plot somehow solidifies up in here soon. But I will also say that I'm very rusty with vlogging. I haven't done it in months, probably since July, and it is now November. I've just been more interested in short form than long form, but we are in for this ride. We are going to finish Rhythm of War, and then hopefully we will pick up Wind and Truth next month. So I'm gonna let you know how I feel about the events in this book as best as I can. I'll be taking notes, and I'm rambling, so I'm gonna go back to reading now, and I'll see you later. Alright, it is the next day, and I am about 9% in, and Kaladin has just ran into Moash, and I'm very confused on what just happened, because it sounds like Moash is trying to get Kaladin to like give in to his depression, and then he walked into a bright light or something that said something about a version of him, transparent and filmy, broke off and stepped toward the light instead. And the real Moash said something like, "No, take it, take my pain." So I'm really confused on what that means. And I'm sure there was an answer somewhere, or maybe there isn't and I just haven't learned it yet. But it feels pretty significant, so I guess I have to look out for that, and I'm trying to document that so that I remember to come back to this point eventually. But already starting off confused, just gonna be confused the whole time, and hopefully things will clear up with time. And I don't get why this is happening, because I feel like Brandon Sanderson books usually make so much sense, like they are so clear, and then everything just comes together and you go, oh, how did I miss that? At least that has been my case in the past few books that I've read by him, or a few series. This one is just, it's getting more challenging the longer it gets, and I'm getting more confused the longer it gets, which I feel like should be the opposite. So I think we've definitely hit the point where I DNF'd on accident last year, so we just gotta push through and hopefully something will clear up. But I'm rambling again because I just don't know what is happening, but we're gonna read. It is the next day, and I finally got into the scene with Rock that I remember, and I'm still just as upset as I was the first time, but this is kind of where my memory is fuzzy. I feel like there's been a few chapters that I've been like, oh, I definitely did not read this last year, and then I'll see a highlight randomly in the middle of the chapter and realize that I did read that. So I was clearly not retaining a damn thing last year when I was reading this, and it's slightly starting to make more sense. So I'm very hopeful, and I'm also thinking that last year I might have stopped at the interludes like the first set of interludes, which would have put me really deep into the book compared to what I thought I was. I thought I had only made it like 100, maybe 150 pages in, but it's looking like I might have made it like over 200, 250 pages. So I don't know what the hell I was doing last year. I don't know how I wasn't remembering any of this. I think I was just burnt out from Oathbringer. I think that book just took it out of me. I thought I liked that book, but it was such a slog to get through. And yes, it had really important things and it really progressed the story overall, but man, that book was fucking boring. I'm sorry. Just coming from the high of Words of Radiance to Oathbringer was a fucking chore. I feel really bad saying that, but it really was. And this one, I think the first few chapters were kind of feeling like that, and I think that's why I couldn't continue on last year. It just was so much, but it's making more sense, I guess. I think not a lot of plot is happening, a lot of like character development is happening right now, and that's what I like. So I am going to keep on trugging through, and we'll see what happens when I get to these interludes, if that's where I actually did DNF or if it would have been sooner. I really don't know. I really don't know. Half of this is ringing some bells and half of it just feels so brand new. So that is my update for now. I'm very upset about Rock. Like, very upset about that. Like, what do you mean forever? What do you mean? I feel like I start making progress and I'm thinking that I'm understanding things, and then we have a full-on conversation about what a type 2 invested person is, and that some people are like spren in men's bodies, and I get so confused again. Like, what do you mean? We just had Kaladin trying to become a swords master, and he was talking to Zahil, and then they have this big old conversation about investiture and worlds that are so old, like even older than Kaladin can ever comprehend, and that Zahil is this like type 2 invested person, but Syl is a type 1 investiture, and I don't understand what's happening. Like, I feel so dumb. I feel like I'm missing an entire book somewhere with some background. I don't know what's happening. But I have highlights in this section. There's one that said something about that's why she takes our memories. She knows we aren't the actual people who died, but something else given a corpse to inhabit. And Kaladin asked, she? Like, who is this she? Obviously that's meant to be a mystery because we don't get an answer there. But like, I don't even have any theories besides drawing from my knowledge of Mistborn that all of the gods are kind of broken up into a couple of different worlds. I know Odium's in this one, but is there another one kind of like, what is it, Ruin and Preservation from the Mistborn series? Like, are there two for this world also that we just haven't met the other one? I literally have no idea what's happening. So I feel like I just need to like turn my brain and just say like, we're going to be vibing. That's it. We're just gonna read for the vibes, and then if we understand any plot point, then that'll be exciting. But if we don't, oh well. There are going to be people who are going to analyze these books and actually understand, and I will watch their videos later. So now we're just getting full context, just getting the vibes, and everyone else is going to have to be responsible for explaining it to me because I don't get it. So thankfully there is a friend at work who has read this book, and I can go to him and be like, what the fuck is happening? And maybe I'll get a little bit more context with that one, but right now, no clue. We're just gonna switch to vibing only because, yeah, that's the best we can do. We are still just moving on along, not fully understanding some things, but I will say that I liked these interludes way more than I liked any of the previous interludes in the past books. I felt like every time we got to interludes, I was just over it. So I think that's another reason why I stopped last year, because we got to the interludes and I was like, ugh, these again. And these ones were actually really short and really cute because we got to be in Syl's mind, and that was super cool to see how much she cares, and also learning about her having her two brains is what she referred to it as, like her logical brain and then her childlike brain, where she can't really pay much attention and is easily distracted. Very ADHD of her, love that for her. But you can just see how much she cares about Kaladin, so I really like to get that point of view. And then right after, the interludes, the little snippets that we get of things right before all of the chapters. was Sazed. It was Sazed. It's Sazed's voice. It is his wording of things, and I am so fucking excited about that because he is my favorite character of the entire Cosmere. I would risk my life for Sazed. I absolutely love him so much. So I'm just so excited to just have like a little snippet of him in these books right now. And obviously I want to know what's going on and who he's writing this letter to or corresponding with to like put that picture together and figure out how Sazed is connected to this world and how the greater Cosmere is connected. But just seeing his phrasing in this made me so happy. So that is propelling me forward a little bit more. And I think I actually put some notes this time because there are some things I'm not so sure on. Okay, and I just remembered now. So it was somebody, I can't remember the character at this point, was talking about odium and how there's like a fracture in him almost, where, what did it say, his vessel and his power are not like fully linked or something. And my theory, because I like to put out theories that I know are going to be absolutely false, is that odium absorbed whatever other shard was around. Like in the Mistborn series, how we had ruin and preservation, I'm thinking that in this series there's odium and somebody else, and he like absorbed this one. That is just my theory. I have no basis for this, so I could be sounding so stupid, and I probably will be, and I'll be eating these words later, or I'll probably forget that I even said this as a theory, and it'll be even more funny when I go back to edit this and realize that I was just super dumb and just spewing things like I have in the past few videos. So there's that. Also, I did highlight a couple of moments where I hate Dalinar, just even more. I've never been his biggest fan. Oathbringer really took it out of me, didn't really like him very much, but in this one, like specifically him talking to Adolin, I'm over Dalinar. I'm ready for him to die. I'm ready for him to be sacrificed. I'm just over him. I think he's such an egotistical asshole and I don't like how he treats his child. So both of his children actually, and I don't like how he treats Navani, even though Navani and her perspectives is like, he's way better than my last husband. Like, no, he's not. He still walks all over you. So just more and more a Dalinar hater. I think he's everything that I just said. Egotistical, he's just an asshole. He only really thinks about what he desires, his plans, his goals, and it's just so beyond frustrating. So that is where I am on this. I am already liking it past this interlude section, so I'm hoping that I can get through a lot of it, and I need to finish this book this week, so hopefully the next updates will come fast. I just realized that I haven't brought up one thing that I continuously brought up in the past few books, and that is the way that I ship Kaladin and Adolin so badly. And I know that it shouldn't go anywhere. I know that Adolin is now a married man, married to Shallan, but the tension between those two just is so thick, and I just need them to kiss just once, just once. I know it won't happen. I know that this is not the author to make something like that happen, but man, their chemistry is better than Adolin and Shallan's. Like, Adolin and Shallan are cute, but it's predictable, you know? Like, if I could have just been on the team to talk through this whole dynamic with Brandon Sanderson, like, I definitely would have pushed this Kaladin and Adolin agenda, but that is probably something no one else thinks besides me, or I haven't seen it talked about as much as I tend to talk about it in these videos. But I just think that their dynamic is so interesting, this like enemies to kind of friends, like very unsteady friendships, where I think that it's definitely going to progress into like more of a deeper best friend type of deal. But man, if it could have just been enemies to lovers, it would have been such a perfect arc for it. Oh man, it would have been so good. But I just needed to throw that in there because I just like them together so much. I just want one little kiss, just one. I just want to say that today is the first day that I'm actually excited to pick up this book. I feel like I've been kind of pushing myself to pick it up and read. I'm liking it, but I haven't been excited about it until today, and I really think it's because of Sazed's little reappearance for me and all those little like snippets that we get to hear from him. So that's like my biggest motivator, and I'm also really enjoying Shallan's storyline right now and what's going on with her, and I'm really liking Adolin's storyline. It's just like very minor, but Maya and the mystery of what Maya is, and if Adolin could ever become a Radiant is very interesting to me. So those are the few things that are keeping me going. Kaladin, give or take, but I do like that he's now going to start helping the soldiers and whatnot with essentially PTSD. I think that will be interesting to see how he goes about that and where it could go, because things will definitely go wrong for him and it won't be good, just knowing how things have gone all along. Like, yeah, he has a lot of big moments that things go very well, but I think things go very bad for him as well. So I feel like he's gonna help them a lot, but he's probably going to lose a few along the way, and that will be interesting to see how he comes out of that, or if he does. I don't know. So the storylines are getting way more interesting than they were at the beginning. The beginning was a slog, but I think we've overcome that, and I am excited to read. So I'm going to put this down and read, and then maybe update you on if I'm still excited when I get to wherever I get to. I'm hoping to read for like 2, maybe 3 hours tonight, because I really want this done by Friday. That is my goal, Friday. Okay, so it looks like my theory of Odium absorbing the other shard in the Roshar system is not correct, because Sazed's little thing, I'm assuming it's Sazed, okay? If it's not Sazed, I'm gonna scream, but the little snippet says that instead of absorbing others, he destroys them. Since we are all essentially infinite, he needs no more power. So he's saying that Odium like wouldn't even consider absorbing one of the other shards because it just wouldn't make any sense. So that could be like a red herring a little bit too. Like he could absorb the shards, but I am probably very wrong on my theory, like whatever. But I think that's all that I had to say about that part. I am still really liking, ow, my arm's tired, hold on. I'm still really liking Shallan's parts. I'm finding it very, very interesting just to see how deeply she's like retreating into her brain and where we're gonna go with that. I also kind of have a feeling that one of the Spren has betrayed her. Like she's trying to uncover who the spy is, who's going to the Ghost Bloods and like revealing some of her secrets, and who killed Sadeas's wife at the very beginning of this book. And I'm more and more nervous that it's going to be like Pattern or something totally like apeshit, but it can't be Pattern, right? Like it could be one of the other Spren, but it can't be Pattern. But if it is Pattern, like I'm gonna scream, because at one point in this he did mention how he could lie, he's just not very good at it. But then it's like, was that a lie? Was that a lie to make us think that it wasn't a lie? So I love Pattern so much, so it better not be Pattern. But it could be. It could be, especially because Shallan doesn't really remember her past with Pattern, and she asked him like if he remembered her talking into this little box thing that Maraise gave her to talk through, and he said no. But like, why doesn't Pattern remember their past together? So I don't know. I'm getting more suspicious of Pattern, and I don't like that. So that is, I guess, my next theory, that Pattern is the bad guy, unfortunately. But we'll see. Hopefully I am wrong, because I love Pattern. And I love all the Spren, and they better not be bad. I didn't want to be right about this. It was Pattern. It's unconfirmed still, but it's looking very much like it is Pattern. But why? He'll have a redemption, I'm sure. But I'm upset. We've made it past 50%. We have made it past 50%. This entire book is done. So now we are moving on to this one. So feels very, very nice to at least have made it that far. I am enjoying myself. I think I'm starting to understand a little bit more. I'm getting back into the world at the 50% mark, which says a lot about my comprehension, but I am still very interested in everything that's going on. But I haven't mentioned that I'm upset that we have not gotten any Renarin. He is my favorite character since book 1. I believe that I even talked about it in book 1, how I just really feel connected to him. I don't know, there's something strange and different about him, and I want to know why. I want to know his background. I want a POV from him. I think we got one in the last book maybe, and I was thrilled to have finally gotten one from him. And now there's been a few moments where we've had people questioning him and his friend, and Taravangian had a interlude where he was looking at Odium's like prediction of the future, and Renarin was kind of a blur to him, and that meant that there's clearly something going on with Renarin that is going to impact Odium, and I want to know what, and I want to know why. And I'm also starting to suspect that Sazed's letter or correspondence or whatever could be with Renarin. Just could be, maybe. I don't know though. That's probably not likely, but it's the only theory I have right now. Everything else, it's literally just a vibe. We have the Fused who have just gotten into the tower. Navani has just surrendered, and Kaladin just fought back with one of them, and his dad is pissed at him, and he took off with Teft, I believe. That's where they're at. We haven't gotten a Dalinar point of view in a very long time, and I love it, but I fear that that's probably happening very, very soon, because he is about to get betrayed, or he just got betrayed by Taravangian, and we're probably going to switch into his point of view. And Adolin and Shallan and their group are still in Shadesmar. That's been a little bit of time since we've seen them, but I'm liking it. I'm having a lot more fun than I did in Oathbringer, and I think that is strictly because we have less Dalinar chapters, and his chapters are just insufferable in my opinion. So I'm having a good time. I'm very happy with how things are going, and I just wish we had Renarin. I just want a Renarin point of view. He's my fave. He is just, I love him. So I'm excited to see if we get anything of that, or if not, he better friggin' be in book 5. So, also, speaking of book 5, I was about to go to bed. I was about to turn off my phone and put it to the side when I got a notification from Libby that Wind and Truth was available, or added to the library catalog so that we could put it on hold, and I clicked it so fast. I was freaking out that I was going to be like 10th, 12th, something in line. It would be months before I could get the ebook, and I ended up being first in line. So that means all of my December plans are out the freaking window, because this is going to be a 63-hour audiobook, which I'm going to get through my 99-cent Audible credit that I didn't buy. And then I'll have the ebook through Libby, and we're going to spend time reading that next month. Like, we have to. We have to. If I'm going to be first in line, I'm not going to waste it. So I will be reacting to that in December. Like, I have no other choice. I have to read it. I'll have to know. So I'm hoping that this book ends on a high, and I've been rambling too much, and I need to get back into reading, because I believe this is telling me I have 12 hours left of reading. I have been reading on 2.5 times speed, and I still have 12 hours left to go. So it's gonna be a couple more days. I might be able to get 3 more hours in tonight, but I think we'll be able to be on track to finish by Saturday. Okay, I'm at a point where I am just so stressed. I'm at chapter 70, and I feel like Kaladin has consistently been fighting the pursuer these past, I don't know, 50 or so chapters. And he keeps coming out of it okay, so I feel like we're at the point where he just can't come out of it okay anymore. Like, there has to be something that gives. Like, we can't just keep having Kaladin win after win after win after win. So I'm just like not ready for something bad to happen. Like, I've been trying to mentally prepare myself that Kaladin's gonna die. Like, I don't know if it is. I've never been spoiled for anything about this series, so since book 1, I have just been telling myself, Kaladin is going to die, Kaladin is going to die, Kaladin is going to die. So I'm trying to prepare for that possibility. I don't know if it will happen. I don't feel like it would happen, and that's why it could happen. Because I think he has so much plot armor. I think it would do a lot to, subvert that trope and protect him, because he is such a beloved main character, to then get rid of him, especially before book 5. So that's kind of where my mind is, that somehow Kaladin isn't going to make it out of this book. But again, I've never heard anything that says that he won't. I've never heard anybody talking about this series and even mentioning Kaladin dying. I have heard like, oh, Brandon Sanderson like hurts your favorite characters, but I've never heard of him killing main characters except for at the end of books. So I don't know. I'm just really stressed that things aren't going to go well for him, and I don't even think he's my favorite character, but it's just been such a journey that I think I would be very upset. I'm also very worried about his family. I think that his dad's probably at least not going to make it, but if anything happens to that baby brother, I'm going to scream. So the stakes are feeling higher right now, and it's stressing me out. We have Kaladin fighting the pursuer for like the 3rd time now. It seems like he just got tricked into going out to protect the pillar that's in the well. Navani also seemed to have gotten tricked, so it seems like the Fused have figured out that Kaladin and Navani are talking, and they have corrupted the Tower Spren into saying what they want her to say. I don't know. That's my assumption right now. I need to finish this chapter, but again, I'm so stressed. So I don't know. But it is saying that I have 7 hours and 25 minutes left of reading. I don't think I can do more than 2 more hours tonight, maybe just 1. I'm feeling pretty tired, so in the next day or so I'm going to know how this ends. And then my hold for Libby will be ready in a week, so. What does it mean? Part 4. Adolin, Shallan, Navani, Venli, Eshonai, Bridge 4. Who's not making it out of Bridge 4? Part of me wants to just DNF right here so that I can live in ignorant bliss. I'm stressed. Okay, I feel like sometimes this audiobook is helping me cheat a little bit because chapter 74 just started and there's just like a little snippet right at the beginning, but I swear the audiobook narrator just talked in Kelsier's voice. Like, it just like brought back memories the same way that Sazed's voice did earlier, and I know that they're not confirmed. No, Sazed is definitely confirmed because of some of those mini paragraphs, but this one I am like out of left field pulling in that was Kelsier. So I feel like the connections with Mistborn are very, very strong in this one, and I'm sure that there's other ones too, because I did catch a little Warbreaker nod. I'm sure I missed 1,000 of them, but it was Seth's blade mentioning, is it Vivenna, and how she used to like his jokes. And then that like made me wonder what happened with Warbreaker. I assumed that Warbreaker would have been after Stormlight, but I really haven't looked into the timeline of any of these, so I just assumed it was after. So then it makes me wonder, like, what happened to them? Where did they go? Because I really, really loved Warbreaker. Not that I can remember all of the details, but at the time when I read it, I loved it. So I am wondering, like, if we're gonna get a Warbreaker book 2. Is that even like a thing that has ever been talked about? And will that kind of bridge into how things got where they are in this one? Or will we find out in book 5? I don't know. But I'm noticing more and more little nods, so I'm very glad that I've read as much of the Cosmere as I have. I definitely am missing big chunks, lots of things, because my brain just can only handle so much. But I know Kelsier's voice. I know that voice. And if it wasn't his, it was somebody else from Mistborn. I know that voice. So I think that's all I have to say now. If I'm wrong about this, I'll be sad, but he used the same voice. He did. I am too attached to these characters at this point. We just had Wit in Kaladin's nightmare, and he was telling him the story of the dog and the dragon. And at the very end, it looks like 9,000 people have highlighted one part where he says that, like, life, it will get better, then it will get worse again, then it will get better, and this is life. And I will not lie by saying every day will be sunshine, but there will be sunshine again, and that is a very different thing to say. That is truth. I promise you, Kaladin, you will be warm again. I am so wrecked by this. If Kaladin doesn't come out of this book or this series alive, I am not going to be well. Like, it's been such a long journey, and it feels similar to the way that Mistborn felt too, where you just go on this journey with them for so long and you want things to turn out okay. But the end of Mistborn was so heartbreaking, so I don't know where we're gonna be on this one, but I know that I'm gonna be crying the whole way through. So. Good morning. Coming in hot with another likely improbable theory is that Navani is going to become a Radiant somehow, and I think she's going to bond with the Tower Spren. That is my assumption, because the Tower Spren is like so close to being completely corrupted, destroyed, whatever the fused Raboniel are doing. I believe that the Spren's going to want to save itself and is going to choose to bond Navani. I don't know if that's possible, but that is my next theory. And I think the only other thing I've been thinking of the past like hour or so that I've been reading is that it's very convenient that we haven't been getting a lot of Dalinar perspectives, because it's keeping everybody where they are. I feel like if we were in Dalinar's point of view, there would have to be more movement towards getting people out of the tower, rescuing everybody from the fuse there, and since we're not seeing his point of view, like, we're able to spend longer times in the tower and in Shadesmar as well. So I like it, but I'm also kind of getting really bored with being in the tower, Navani doing experiment after experiment after experiment, and not getting enough of Shadesmar. I feel like that's like the saving grace. And then Kaladin has been in and out of consciousness recently too, so I'm like verging on boredom right now. So I'm hoping something drastic happens soon, but it can't be anybody dying. That's all I ask. So yeah, my next prediction is Navani will become another bondsmith or something like more important than a bondsmith, and that she'll kind of elevate herself above where Dalinar and Gavilar had once been in status because of this. But I don't know. It's probably not gonna happen, but it's my assumption. I definitely just got emotional when we got to the third day of Adolin's trial and they pulled out Maya to testify against him, and she was really struggling to talk, and then finally like told everybody like it's her sacrifice, like they can't just diminish her sacrifice that she chose. And yeah, I was definitely in tears. Like, I don't know what this means, if Adolin will ever be able to bond her because she's dead, but her being able to speak on behalf of all of the Spren who had chosen to be with Radiance, knowing that it could lead to their deaths. Oof. I'm just getting way more emotional the deeper we get into this book. So what are these last couple hundred pages gonna bring? Just lots more tears, I am sure of it. Oh my gosh. I get that Moash made whatever deal with Odium, but ugh, I hate him. I am too emotional for this book. Kaladin finally said the fourth ordeal. And we gotta see Tien again, and I am a wreck. I think Navani is gonna die unless something crazy happens, and I don't know if my prediction is gonna happen, because it looks like the Tower Spren is trying to bond with R'lain unless it's too late, because the nodes have all been destroyed. But I'm also wondering if that didn't happen and Navani's gonna be able to bond so that Navani can live. But it kind of sounds like Navani's not gonna make it out of this either. What? So the vessel of Odium was killed with Zeth's blade, and Taravangian just took Odium's power and became his vessel. Is that what just happened? Great. Love that. Ugh. I just wanted him to be dead. And he's not. This is great. Okay, so I finished a few days ago, and I have been in this weird mental headspace where I am not able to let go of the world right now. So I have just been going on binges of YouTube videos, watching theories and things that you missed in the Cosmere and Easter eggs that were hidden and blah 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 blah, and I'm realizing that I literally comprehended nothing. According to everything that I have watched. I knew going into this that I wouldn't know a lot about the series because I wasn't going to spoil myself for anything. That is what I did when I read Mistborn. I really didn't want to be spoiled for anything, so I did not allow myself to look up theory videos. I didn't allow myself to look up the Wikipedia for anything. I really just wanted to get the baseline of the story without any fandom influence, especially because I know how easy it is to be spoiled for just the minor of details. So I didn't do that for Mistborn. I didn't do it for any of the other books that I've read in the Cosmere, and I didn't do it for any of Stormlight. And my camera's dying. Let me change that real quick. So because I missed out on that like fandom element, I felt like I was just trudging along the entire time. And I said that a few times in this video too, where I never really understood anything because I couldn't go and watch explanations, or I couldn't go and reread any of the little moments that happen before the chapters, I'm forgetting what they're called, and get explanations for what those mean. I couldn't look up who the heralds were and why they were important because I didn't want to spoil myself for anything. I just wanted to be surprised completely. I didn't know who was gonna live. I didn't know who was gonna die. I don't think I heard a single spoiler for anything in the Cosmere so far. So I'm really glad that I did it that way, but there are so many things that I definitely missed. Like the Ghost Blood's Thydakar, is that his name? Is actually Cosmere. Completely missed that. There are, wow, because it has been so long since I filmed anything, I think all of my batteries are going bad. I'm sure this one's gonna die very, very soon too. But as I was saying, I also didn't pick up on how a lot of the world hoppers had different names in different series. I just kind of expected that they would have the same names so that I would know who they were, but apparently there's certain characters that have different nicknames and whatnot, and I'm not really sure why Cosmere's name is different in this one, but there's that. I forgot that Sazed is actually called Harmony now and not Sazed, so I probably should have stopped calling him Sazed when I found out that he had little parts in the beginning of those chapters. There's just a lot that I completely missed, and I'm sure there's even more than just those minor things. As I was saying, I've been watching a lot of videos on it and trying to get that knowledge up to date before the last one as best as I can. I've been listening to a lot of theories that people have going into the next one. Some that I liked, two were actually by Jacksepticeye. He said that he believes that the Shattered Plains were where Honor died, and that's why the landscape is like shattered in a certain pattern, because that's like where the death of a god happened. And I kind of like that theory. The theory of Honor being pieced back together and that being Dalinar taking over that vessel would be pretty interesting, or it could be Kaladin, not really sure. I kind of hope it would be Dalinar over Kaladin. Theories that Dalinar is going to lose this championship against Odium. I definitely believe. I don't really know how he would win and then the story would continue for 1,000 pages or whatnot, because the book surely cannot be a 10-day span. Like, that would be ridiculous to have only 10 days. This battery is also gonna die. Oh my god, I can't finish this clip. Okay, I guess we just have to wrap this up here, but I am very excited to get Wind and Truth in a couple of days and start reading that one. Things that I hope that will happen are that we get more Renarin. I just saw a video of Brandon doing a Q&A saying that we are getting the most Renarin in this next book than we ever have, but he's not going to be like main character level, so I'm excited to see more of him. I am excited to see kind of how things fully resolve for Shallan after she has just accepted like Vale to be part of her own personality, I guess. I'm interested to see if Kaladin will reach the 5th ideal. I'm interested to see who will be the champion for Odium. I don't think it will be the whole Gavinar that is a common theory I've been seeing. I just don't think it would make sense to fight a child. I don't think Adolin would ever be Odium's champion, but I could see him being the one for Dalinar if something happens where Dalinar can't be his own champion. I could see that happening, and that would be a big thing for like Adolin if he loses, and that sort of like self-worth issue that he has going on of like not living up to what his father could be, and then that feeling of like him being the reason Dalinar has to be trapped on Braze. Is that what the issue is? I can't remember that one right now. I will make sure I know all the facts before we go into book 5, but interested to see how that will go and how long that will take. Like, will that be wrapped up pretty quickly? I haven't read any of the like preview chapters that have been put out in the past few weeks, months, years, I don't know. So everything will be very, very fresh going into Wind and Truth. But I'm very excited. I'm also very nervous. I don't want any of my faves to end up dying, but at least I'm pretty sure Renarin's gonna live, because Brandon said that he wouldn't be main character point of view until 6 through 10, which means he has to make it there. So we're safe there. Nothing better happened to Syl or Pattern, because I love them, and I don't really care if Dalinar dies, but we know that I dislike him, so that's probably a bad take on my part, but I just don't like him very much. He's just so frustrating. Very excited to see where Navani's going, and yeah, I think we're gonna end this here. I will pick up my camera in the next couple of days to start reacting to Wind and Truth. Hopefully it won't take me too long to read, but I'm predicting that one was gonna take me probably 3 weeks to read. So all of December. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you thought on some of my theories that were very, very untrue, but I did call the one with Navani and the Tower Spren, or the siblings, so that was exciting. Like the first theory I've ever gotten right. But yeah, I will see you in my next video. All right, bye. Before I begin reading Wind and Truth, I just need to come in and say that I am reading Sunlit Man, and it is making me weep right now because of Ox and the sacrifice that happened in this. I don't know what the outcome of that is. I assume it could surprise me and turn out better, but like those like 2 pages weeping, fully weeping. I'm so tired of these Spren taking my heart and ripping it out. So I'm almost finished though, and then I'm gonna start Wind and Truth because it's only like 7 o'clock. I just needed to give this update that I am emotionally wrecked already, and I haven't even started the book.